And I thought we'd start out with a couple things. One, keeping all the people in Orange County in our thoughts. I know I've been on the phone. I've called the county soup and checked in with the PIO over there, and hope those Santa Ana winds slows it down. They're trying to get their arms around it, but again, it's getting closer and closer to cities. Irvine's right on the fringe, so nothing's sacred. And well, we reached out. I reached out to them and said, if you guys need anything, let us know. So, Al Maharis is putting his team together, and you might be getting a call soon. So, and we're still not done. I think hopefully we can get a little rain here, but again, I think it's getting a little more scary when you see fires right at the subdivisions. And my second thing I want to point out, if you remember how all this started, it was the Solano fire kind of kicked off this year that thing actually jumped Highway 80 and was projected to head towards Sacramento. So nothing sacred in this world. The second announcement I want to make is, I like the fact you guys can't really see me. The second thing is I've been helping out Oregon and Washington schools, and they're puppies, right? This is their first go around, and they're really appreciative of the resources we have here in California. And the CSSA book is very well received by them. And their biggest struggle, like everyone, is dealing with FEMA. They can't get their arms around it. So, I think at some point, CDE and maybe Lynn, that we would reach out and try to help some of these. They're little, and they just don't have a system set up like we didn't probably back in 2017. So that's two announcements I wanted to make, and grateful for all the things that Butte, Sonoma, CDE have put together to share with other states throughout the country, actually. So that's what I did. I spent about an hour and a half with them, and the cycle of trauma you could see from those superintendents that have lost either part of their school or the majority of their town is right in sync with what we see here. So that's number one. Number two, I wanted to introduce Jack O'Connell. I know most of you know him, former state superintendent. I wanted to come on. He's our advocate here over at SSDA, has done a lot of great work helping. And Jack, I'd like to say a few words to the leaders here. I know you went through a lot of different, major events in your time, and any words of wisdom for us, we'd appreciate.
Tim, thank you. And thank you very much for all you've done and with SSDA. And I think everyone knows Tim, very successful, popular county superintendent up in Butte, and still active up there, and Mary doing a great job. And just, we're so lucky to have you, Tim, sitting there. And what a tremendous job folks are doing up and down the state. That's certainly my impression. My goodness, you look at the circumstances, not just a fire and a pandemic, but all the fiscal challenges and just so many challenges that we have, uncertainty just around the corner, and these fires are just unrelenting, as is the pandemic. When I was state superintendent, our biggest challenge was fiscal, and it was whether or not the state would provide a COLA. And now, that just pales in terms of what our schools are facing today. And I know that schools, particularly in some of our smaller communities, you are the community. You're the hub. If there's going to be a community meeting to talk about the fire, to talk about anything, it's where people come together. It's at your cafeteria. It's at your gymnasium. It's at your all-purpose room, multi-purpose room. And so, we certainly get that and know how important that is. And I also know that your districts, and Tim and I talk about this a lot, each one of your districts is unique. I mean, we have some that are basic aid. We have some that have lost schools to the fire. We have some that lost some facilities, enrollment challenges that we're facing. There are questions that we continue to get in terms of even when we bring kids back, like Stuart was just telling us in Button Willow in Kern County, is there going to be a requirement for minutes and for days in order to be adequately resourced from the state? So to the folks on this call, you're doing really Herculean work. Thank you for what you continue to do, and continue to access the many, many resources that Tim and his team continue to provide. So thank you for having me, Tim. I look forward to staying with you here. But Tim, I think you're on mute. And you've never sounded any better.
God, that's terrible.
Is this your first Zoom meeting, Tim?
The top issue for Oregon is protecting their funding, and they went to the state, and the state said, well, everybody's losing ADA because of the COVID. So we have to stay laser focused on separating those two issues. Like I told Oregon to do, you can't mix those two. Those are two completely different issues. And last week, I wanted to follow up. Steve Harrington did mention that Capital Advisors has helped with the resolution in the past. And I did follow up with Capital Advisors. They did do that. Barrett and Jerry Shelton did do that. So I think it's in fairness, as we wait for the fire season to end, I think after that, we pull our teams together to work with the legislature, CDE, Department of Finance to work on that. And because it is a tricky one this year, it's not like just one county as we talked about, right? We got 12, 15, 17 counties, I don't know what it is, and hundreds of districts that could be affected. And it's our responsibility, I think, between Mary McNeil and I to make sure our associations work with all of them to protect you guys with that funding. Does anybody have a question about that follow-up? Because that was the follow-up from last week. I know you guys sent me some emails. I've seen the resolution and the work they did. And it was well, there was a lot of good documentation that we've had since 2017. But Mike, do you guys have a question out there about that, the ADA issue?
I'm just curious if any of my colleagues on this call are from basic aid districts as well. Am I the only basic aid district in this conversation this morning?
Pretty much. Toby Waite is basic aid over in Big Creek. And he's very concerned about his, he lost his town, right? So there's some houses that are back, but most are gone.
Got it. Thank you.
But I think basic aid is one, I think, again, we have to work with the state. I've talked to you about this, and we did that with Golden Feather up in Butte and got them the same protection that we had for Paradise. So I think that issue really falls in the court of ACSA and SSDA, and we'll work through our advocates, our lobbyists and everything to work with you on that. But I think it's best that we wait till all the fires are done so we don't do a start and stop. And so I'm looking probably in January is when we really start to work on the trailer language around that. Jack, is it usually trailer language, or is it when you ask for the ADA being protected? I forgot what we did last time.
Because of the timing, Tim, I would suggest that we find an urgency bill, and so that we get that done before waiting for the trailer bill. The trailer bill language won't be done till June. My instincts say you're going to want this before that.
Okay.
And we'll make it an urgency bill. And as long as we get the wording right, we should be okay. That way, you get 2/3, takes effect immediately upon signature of the governor. Great.
Okay, the second item I thought we would go over, again, is any updates from CDE. I know, you got your new members, and it's great to see. I like it, Jack and Joe here. And everybody's anxious to get to know you guys more. I thought maybe what we'd start out, because I think you're going to play an important part. Can you guys introduce yourself and your background a little bit? Because everybody's anxious to hear from you guys. So Joe, you want to kick it off?
Sure thing, yeah. My name's Joe Anderson. I come from Cal OES, which I'm sure many of you have probably heard of. And that's the Governor's Office of Emergency Services. I was there for 10.5 years, and I worked mostly in grants, but I worked in grants for like Homeland Security, Victim Services, hazard mitigation, and in public assistance. So, I'm kind of familiar with pretty much everything Cal OES has to offer grant-wise. I have a passion for helping people and working in disasters. Worked at the State Operations Center many times and the Joint Field Office. So I'm very familiar with how Cal OES operates, and I'm kind of hoping to bring that knowledge here to CDE to help you all. So that's me in a nutshell, but nice to meet you all.
Hey, I don't know, if it was Facebook Live, I'd be hitting those little hearts, man. That's huge. To have a guy who understands all those grants. Congratulations to CDE. Good hire. That was probably a quick interview. Hey, Joe, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, my name's Jake. I'm from,
Jake,
I come from, yeah, that's okay. You can call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late to dinner. So my experience is, originally I come from, I worked for CAL FIRE for a few fire seasons, and I worked in EMS in Sacramento for about a decade. And so as a paramedic EMT, I too come from Cal OES. I was a health and medical liaison, so I worked pretty extensively with the public health and medical system here in the state of California as it relates to disaster response. And I'm really excited to be here with CDE to help really help with the structure in the response, and CDE and education within the state of California, I feel, has suffered a really long time with not having its due moment to get focused structure within SEMS, which is for everyone, the standardized emergency management system. And so there's levels of communication that go on here in the state when we're talking about emergency response. And I think that an important part of taking education and emergency response to the next level is going to be with the help of Joe, Juan, Leslie, the rest of the CDE team here, and working with all of our partners out there, which is you guys, is really working together, building those relationships, and creating a system where we're sharing information in a disaster that we can help lean forward and provide better capabilities in emergency response for you guys. So I'm really excited to be here. And again, I'm an open book. If you guys ever have any questions, need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm always, and you're never going to tell me too much information. If I got questions, I have no problem asking. So I appreciate you guys having me here today, and thank you.
Well, you guys, I mean, I think we talked last week about getting that playbook together, and I don't think it's anyone's fault. We have a ton of resources in siloed worlds, right? There's no central system, and we've had to rely on Juan, who's got 800 things going on. So I look forward to seeing your work. It could be a national model, to tell you the truth. When I talked to Washington, Oregon, I remember what we were like in 2017, and they're behind that. So thanks for being here. And could you guys in the chat room put your emails in there so people have it? Appreciate it. And also an email. I saw Lynn drop something. Make sure you check your chat room. You can see an email from her. And if you guys have any questions, feel free just to pop in, you guys. Does anybody have any questions for J and J? Jack and Joe? Sounds like a radio show. Mike, do you have a question for him? Anybody? Nope, good. Hey guys, welcome. And that's a big moment for us. I think this will solve a lot of issues in California and help the work they've done. The second thing, Juan or Leslie, you guys have any other updates you want to share with folks?
Not any significant updates. Other than we're here to continue to help support all of you guys. We are still helping to try and address unmet needs because of the recent wildfires and the ongoing pandemic. Like Jake was mentioning, though, at some point we were also very interested in hearing from you on how we can, in the future, better support all of you. And that's part of what Joe and Jake are going to be doing. Right now, we're helping to address unmet needs, but we also want to build a better structure so that we can provide better support for any future emergencies. But I'm going to turn it over to Leslie to see if she has any other updates.
No, nothing significant. I'm so excited to have Joe and Jake on board. I can't tell you what a personal and professional relief it is to see our team growing, that we can build more structure, as Jake said, around kind of what we've been learning alongside you since 2017. And it has been quite a journey through these. Now this is our 4th fire season, really responding in this different way. So just ready to listen to whatever questions or concerns you guys have today.
Great. Yeah, I think Orange County is another great example, right? You reach out to them in day 1 or 2 of the fire, and they still, and you say, you guys should get your team together, right? So I don't know, for all 4 of you guys, to me, that's the trigger is, and as Toby says, you just don't know what to do, and then there's a big fire behind your backyard there, and how do we get in there early, often with a quick checklist? Here's what you should be doing, and again, I think we really need to work through CSSA to ensure that they actually take charge. I mean, I think the best examples of when the county superintendent really takes like the lead on this, and it's flip-flops all over the state. I think some people do it and some wait and some just don't know. So as we got a live action thing going on, I'm seeing the exact same trend of people not organized when a fire comes in. And it's very much, it's super unlike what you see with Cal and OES when something happens. They've had the system down, and how can we steal their ideas to take over? Because, you know, Mike Hefner will tell you, and so will anybody else that dealt with their fires, Derek, they were running around asking for what do I do? What do I do? They didn't even know what to ask what to do, right? You don't even know.
Tim, I am still asking.
Yeah, exactly. Just a quick update from Lynn, and then I want to ask the districts, what do you need for this week? Hey, Lynn, thanks for the quick link. I appreciate it. Any updates from OES? You lost 2 people. I know that. You there? You might be on mute. I don't know.
I have a question, Tim.
Yeah, go ahead, Derek.
Hey, last week we talked about a recovery coordinator, and it was a county, and my assumption was the county office of ed, but was it just my Siskiyou County person? Or, you know, I reached out to the Siskiyou County, and they really didn't give me really any information.
So this is Lynn. I'm here now. Sorry.
Did you hear that? He went to the county, but there was no response back up in Siskiyou's about the county coordinator.
If you want to get in touch with me, I will figure out who it is that you need to contact. I put my email in the box there. So reach out to me and I will figure out who it is that you need to talk to.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to 2 people there, Angela's Davis and office. So Jason and Adam. Jason, you know, I do have the deputy director and OES support services from the county. Adam, left a message with Adam. Jason did get back to me, but he really, to me, said, "Oh yeah, I'm here, but I'm so new to Siskiyou County and OES that he didn't really give me any information."
Okay. Well, I don't know what to tell you for that one because the county is the one who's the recovery coordinator and is coordinating all of that. So you also have your board of supervisors you can go to and talk to them as well. But we can try to find somebody up for you to talk to. If you, those 2 links that I gave you on the webpage for
Yes.
DR 4569 and DR 4558, those are your federal disaster numbers. And Siskiyou, you are 4569. So there is a fact sheet there for recovery. If you go to our Cal OES Public Assistance webpage, there's also a generic email box that you can email to and ask questions directly of our recovery folks.
Excellent.
So if you're not getting information from your county, you can work directly with our recovery folks through that email. I think it's disaster recovery at caloes.ca.gov. But look at the webpage to make sure I didn't mess that up. And then the only other, I'm sorry.
No, I just said, okay, thanks. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And Tim, just the only other thing I wanted to mention for you is that, do you remember Chris Walsh from FEMA when he was at the hub there in Butte County helping you guys out? He is up in Oregon right now, and he is, I don't know if he's reached out to Juan or Leslie yet, but he remembers what a good job you guys did. And so he's working with the school districts up there and trying to take lessons learned from Butte County to Oregon right now to help them recover.
Good stuff.
So that's really all that I have, unless you have any specific questions that I might be able to answer or find an answer for you.
No, I do think it's sooner than later, you guys, as we design the work of Jake and Joe, this is a great segue right here, right? So Derek can't find what to do. I think the way we operate is work through CDE to get the initial thing, and then if that doesn't work, we go to OES. So I think those are the type of things we can iron out over the next over the year and be prepared for next year better. Every year we're getting better, it seems like. Thanks, Lynn. I appreciate it. Does anybody else have a question for Lynn? Okay, I just want to do one more item and then open up to the district some more. Leslie, I know Mary couldn't make it today, but could you quickly describe what their weekly meetings are like? I know you're doing them in Butte and also in Fresno. What are the running agenda items that we could know of and share with the other districts?
Sure, yeah, happy to. You know, Butte County Office of Ed, unfortunately, is pretty experienced at this point in emergency management. And early on in their disaster, it started actually as a daily call, kind of their own district LEA Emergency Operations Center. And so they run a very structured meeting. Of course, they're doing their meetings on Zoom due to the pandemic. But I think the key takeaways for kind of how they do it is that they have very clear roles in their meetings. So they have their entire cabinet there, they have their superintendent, they have facilities, they have HR, they have finance. And there's a very good understanding among their group of who's here to talk about what. They also have a great emergency manager who kind of provides that situational awareness, and they have a direct liaison to the county emergency operations center. So they have that presence there at the county level. Which is one of the main things that we encourage districts to do when they're impacted by a disaster. So I think the cadence of that meeting, the structure of it, there's one person leading, you get called on, you give your brief out, people raise their hand if they have questions, you get called on, really makes it go quick in their meeting. They can get a lot accomplished in 30 minutes, or the meeting is scheduled for 1 hour. And they do this kind of check-in at the end, you know, what did we learn? What do we expect tomorrow? What are the roadblocks? They ask each other these questions and then try to address it for the very next day. So it's really this constant churn of kind of trying to level up, but everyone performing kind of within their own lane. So I think that's been just really successful. You know, as they saw containment on the North Complex, they switched that to a weekly call. So it's a format that's also adaptable. You know, it's not that you start doing it one way and you're married to that way until you're done. You can always change what you're doing, but it's been really rewarding. Close to the beginning, I think we were invited to sit in on that meeting and to just be kind of embedded in the call. And I think that's been really rewarding for me, one, because we worked a lot with Butte County during the campfires. So to be able to continue those relationships has been really important. And you can just hear in real time those needs that start to emerge. We're not always able to, we have like, go ahead, Tim. So I'm snapping my finger at my kids because my dog, I'm sure you can hear my dog barking on a chew toy. So,
Moms are amazing. I'd be like, shut up. No, just kidding.
Hopefully they can get that under control for me as we start our school day, guys. Anyway.
It's fine.
So Butte has just been so successful in that way that, you know, they sort of know that it's okay to make a big ask, and it's our job at the state to figure out how to deal with that ask. So they've come up with all kinds of things that they needed. They needed help with Hmong translation services because they couldn't find anybody locally. So we reached out to partners at CABE and said, hey, do we have any resources? How can we help get connected? Actually, Fresno County was the one who was able to help them out with that. So it's more of an opportunity to kind of workshop problems. They do a really good job of not doing any, they don't digress. You know, people will ask, you know, I need a sidebar with, you know, these people to discuss this. They recap at the end of the meeting, and it's really just very effective and efficient. Fresno County is doing something similar. They have their county office of ed is leading a Friday call for creek fire recovery. Both Fresno and Butte County have brought somebody in, hired somebody or paid somebody on a contract basis to lead recovery efforts to kind of lift that burden off of the local districts. And those have been really successful strategies.
Well, Leslie, that's amazing. I mean, I think the thing for me is just that consistency for the districts to know they can go to this thing, get something asked, and get it done. For those of you out there, if you want me to work with your county soup to get that going, and I'll bring Mary in to help guide them on that agenda. I know it's a little late for some of you, but if it's ever late, as Steve told you, you're in for 18 or 24 months. So, and again, and I think Derek, okay, I'll give Kermit the call. I will. No, I think that's a smart thing. Anyways, Butte's they're basically dealing with the fire in the Berry Creek area where the school was lost, right? So I love the fact that the county's taken ownership of helping that district out and having the parties all together. Boy, that's a model I hope we can videotape and show to everybody as these things happen. And you mentioned one thing I thought was the most critical. They brought you in early, right? You were in early while the others had to, I think by the time we got Mike down in Santa Cruz hooked up, it was weeks, to get you down to Sacramento. And that's really on our system that we need to get tightened up. Thank you so much, Leslie. I think that's a big help for me, and I'll look forward to working with Kermit. And if we need to help out Ferris down in Santa Cruz, if anybody else wants me to call their county soup and talk about that, let me know. And I don't mind joining in to help get it going. So that's how important it is. Okay, anybody else have an update from the field, and then from the support staff, and then I'd like to go around. Any districts have any other questions, and we can wrap things up.
Hey Tim, can I interrupt you for a quick second? I'm Stuart Packard. I'm the president of SSDA, so I get to watch what Tim's doing with our organization right now. And Debbie was awesome before him, and now I believe Tim is the right person at the right time for what we're going through, representing small schools and in reality all schools as we connect with districts throughout the state. So Button Willow, unless I get an orchard on fire for pistachios, I don't think I'm going to be facing anything like a lot of you other folks are facing. But on behalf of SSDA, if there's anything that we can do, let us know. Tim is a great resource. And so with that, I'm going to go bring some students onto campus from kindergarten through 8th grade for the first time since March. So thank you very much, Tim, and thank you everybody, especially at CDE, for helping out with this and making the connections. So
hey,
thank you very much.
Good luck today, Stuart. Good luck today.
Stuart's using Gumby as his mascot helper because he wants everybody to be flexible. So I'm sure Gumby's going to be out there today welcoming the kids. So.
Gumby's going to be out there someplace at some point in the next day or two.
Nice.
Take care. Thanks.
Hey, Kermit, good to see you.
Thanks, Tim. Good to see everybody.
There it is.
Great. Hey, so from the field, do you have any specific questions? Put it on the table. We're here to help.
Tim, this is Mike Hefner. I think for the CDE folks, I'd just love to give a little thinking. So I work with a brilliant county office team. And I think, Leslie, you mentioned situational awareness. COVID has stretched everybody in the system to the point of very little bandwidth to do anything more. And then here in Santa Cruz County, Bonnie Doon is less than 1% of the overall student population in the county. And that puts a really interesting mix into how a county office of education can really engage and support when they're already so stretched and dealing with 99% of the COVID strain in the county. So I just wonder if there are ways that the state may be able to fill some of the voids that county offices may or may not be able to fill for districts addressing fire recovery. And then the other thing I just feel like I've got to say is when PG&E pulls these public safety power shutoffs, the impact on at least this fire ravaged district was profound. And The notion that PG&E continues to message that schools are a priority and public institutions are priorities for turning the power back on, that's hogwash in Bonnie Doon. My school was the last part of Bonnie Doon to get lit up. So I actually had PG&E tell me they went 2 poles down before the school and turned everything on and then stopped. And that impact in a distance learning when we've already lost 20 days to fire could have been profound. So I spent 12 hours in the span of Sunday to Monday to just get power up at my school with generators that I had to myself run around and find. So those 2 pieces to the puzzle in situational awareness, I think would really help some of us who are on the front lines dealing with the fire and then COVID and then PG&E playing around with us. So the more that the state can figure out how to support these really small districts and really dynamic situations would just speak volumes. And that's, I'm not trying to be critical, I'm just trying to talk about what the challenge is that we're facing here in Bonnie Doon.
Thanks, Mike. This is one. I do want to address a couple of the points, and this is very helpful, by the way. We don't take it as criticism, right? These are opportunities for improvement, and I would love to say that, you know, we at the CDE could take on the role of COEs. You know, realistically, there's only so much we can do. We are very fortunate that we have 2 dedicated people, but before that, we were all doing our day jobs as well as trying to help in with the response efforts. But I'm very hopeful that now with Joe and Jake, we can start building a better structure, a better support system, and with input like yours, you know, I think that we're gonna all be in a better position to help other school districts that have been impacted. So, you know, we look forward to getting better organized, you know, again, at the state level. We would love to, you know, we've been doing what we can. We know that there's a lot more that we could be doing. And now having Joe and Jake, we can have some folks that are dedicated, right? Because, you know, we get pulled in and try to do what we can. And then we have to go back and do our regular job. So Joe and Jake are going to be a big help, but we have a large state, right? We have 1,000 school districts. We have 10,000 schools, 58 counties. So there's a lot of ground to cover. And right now we're doing the best we can, but I hope that we can produce a better support system in the future. But we welcome, and please let us know how we can improve. So we don't, once again, we don't take this as criticism. These are, for me, they're opportunities to improve. So I welcome them.
Yeah, and if I could chime in too, Juan, for Mike. Yeah, I mean, that'd be very interesting for us to know what those gaps are at the county level, because if we're going to build a system that can support the counties who can support you, we need to know what those gaps are. So if you want to share it here, or if you want to talk later, we can do that. So that way we can kind of explore those as well.
I think I'd be happy to have that conversation, and maybe not in this venue.
Okay, we'll do that later.
Such deep respect for my county office team, honestly, deep respect for them.
Yeah, Mike, I do think though, if we follow up what Steve Harrington said, he said we'd be willing to pick up the phone and help, you know, Ferris or any county soup with what he learned, you know, and making sure someone is assigned directly to that. So I'll give, you know, you call me too today, and I'll my, you know, Ferris is wide open for ideas. And I think your visual that you brought forth on COVID and fire, everybody is at capacity. I mean, the poor county offices are working their tail off just to keep pace. And then this fire thing came in, so maybe Steve or I can give him a buzz. That's a good call. Anybody else from the field have a question?
I have a comment, Tim. I greatly appreciate everything that CDE is doing and helping with. My only concern is that, just like, and I'm going to go back to the devices and hotspots thing, is that you guys don't forget these small rural schools when this work needs to be done. And, you know, everybody talks a good game, but when it comes down to putting the rubber to the road, we get left out in the lurch. And I'm just going to use my one small school as like Happy Camp and Derek and that group. You know, they're probably about as far away from Sacramento as you can get and impacted by fire, just like everybody else. And I don't want to see all the resources going to these large districts. These little guys need just as many or more resources than the big districts do. So I appreciate the help. I appreciate what you guys are doing, but just keep that in mind as we move through this.
Thanks, Kermit. You know, just on a, I don't want to bird walk too far, but it's been interesting watching the last 3-4 weeks of the digital divide meetings down here and how it's become all of a sudden an urban issue, right? So LA's hosted a meeting about their digital divide, and you know, saying that must be for you who's been dealing with, you know, I was frustrated. I was up in Siskiyou last week, and it is frustrating when you're on a campus and you can't get any connection. So thanks for that comment. And I know Juan and those guys have a soft spot for us, but we got to keep reminding them, you know, they have a lot of pressure from the big dogs. You know, they get a lot of attorneys and have their own lobbyists. We only got Jack O'Connell. They got their own, they have their own goons. A very, very good point. Anybody else want to step up and ask a question?
So Tim, my name is Sarah. I'm with Siskiyou Union School District. So I'm the CBO for Happy Camp High School. And Derek brought us in yesterday. We kind of had a Zoom meeting, and I had watched your guys' webinar from last weekend and asked to start participating. So we're trying to get kind of the ball rolling, and I'm trying to help facilitate with who the people are that we need to kind of get together, just to really start the conversations, because, you know, like Derek and the principals and superintendent of schools, I mean, we are stretched thin. And so everybody's going to have to pick up a little bit more and try to help the best they can. But if we have some, like a check sheet, and I know that sounds really strange, but like Butte County, if they've been doing it for years, who are those key people? Just, it doesn't have to be by names, but just in reference to companies, who do we contact to help us get at least a monthly meeting going for right now to kind of talk about and research and everybody set up their roles?
Yeah, I think, first of all, Sarah, thanks for joining us. And for all of you, Siskiyou Joint is the high school at Happy Camp, but it's spread out. It's a crazy situation. Aren't you guys like?
The only high school district in the state that has non-contiguous boundaries.
Okay. That's a big word for my Chico State background, but
islands of excellence.
Really far apart, and I've been remiss and have been having trouble connecting the dots. But thanks for being here today, Sarah. I think what we can do is I'll put together a call with Kermit, you, and you know, Derek and stuff, and bring in. We can bring in someone from the Butte County. We talked about that earlier. I think that running agenda would be very helpful for you. And they're stretched as much as they can be, but they can give you guys a half hour of how they do that. Leslie described it wonderfully. And I'll give Mary a call and we'll follow up with you guys this week. I'll give you guys a buzz by tomorrow and we'll set up a time to do that, because you really need to get that together.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
How's the high school doing up there?
Doing good. We do have a new principal down there who's actually been a teacher. So, you know, she's just trying to get her principal role kind of under play. And then the COVID issue happening, you know, and I think, and Derek's new to the district down there. Our district office, Siskiyou Union, is in Mount Shasta. So as you know, we're like 2.5 hours away, actually, even from the campus.
Wow.
So it's really trying to help with people that have been in the district for years. And being from finance, I mean, I'm not one of the key role players, but a piece of it. So, you know, being able to help facilitate that the best I can.
And again, I think Kermit said it. I actually got texted by Debbie Pierce. I was working on all these fires and I didn't even hear about the Happy Camp fire. It didn't come down to my zone or the media down here. And I felt horrible. But we don't want that to go away as we're doing the recovery stage, right? So we got to make sure we're tuned to what's happening up there.
Yeah, we've got staff. I think she said we've got 22 students that are without homes. We've got 5 staff members right now without homes just at the high school district. Like you said, a lot of the mental health pieces of it, of trying to get somewhat normality back by getting kids on campus, but then you've got a lot of those big concerns of just people trying to deal with day-to-day life and, you know, the COVID, and then their own stresses amongst themselves, not even trying to recognize it, but it's there.
Yep. What's your principal's name?
Erica Mitchell.
Okay.
She's doing a great job too.
Yes.
She really pulled that together.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, and we've been talking almost daily. So I'm kind of mentoring her. But with Mike Matheson, you know, as the soup, you know, again, we needed to start that conversation probably 3 weeks ago, but we started it yesterday, and you know, I can only think positive, you know, with all the stories coming in.
I'll tell you, I'm just thinking of my first year principal having COVID and a fire. That's unbelievable. There's a chapter in her book. I'll double back with you, Sarah. If you could drop in the chat room so my assistant can get your phone number, I'll give you a buzz after this meeting.
Thank you.
I'll keep you in the loop, Kermit. Look, I'll probably have to come back up there. I love that breakfast at the Big Bear, the Black Bear.
Right.
Hey,
Bye.
Hey, Connie, Wu, nice to see you. What's that background there? It looked like a football.
You know what? That is my proud high school field. That's my high school football field, and I want to say I appreciate each of you to holding this meeting. And I just got email last night, and then I jump in, and I appreciate all the CBO here share with me. I just want to share my story. And we had a fire. We have a Bobcat fire. And then we are so fortunate that our JPA insurance, they contact me immediately, and they hire private fire crew and pack in one of our elementary school. This is help us tremendously for the mental and the health mentally, because our community feel very supportive. And a lot of our principals, they live in Monrovia. So that is one of the best things. And I will echo what Sarah said. If we have chat sheet from CDE to county office education, if who is the contact person, what is the phone number, what the email address, you know, we can just pick up a phone, call them. That'd be great, because our county try to say we will be there help you. But we need more detail. I would rather there are private fire crew camping in my campus for 2 weeks instead of say, hey, you know, just give me a call. I need more detail. So what I want to share with you, our JP is very helpful, and they have a consultant and visitor all my school right now to do the cleaning and estimate the cost of cleaning. So I just was very fortunate to have our JP very supportive. But you know, with another help, this team, you know, so that definitely additional and definitely plus from our CD, from our county, from you guys.
Great. And what district did you say you're in again?
Monrovia Unified School District. We're a neighbor of the Pasadena, just I think 5 miles east of Pasadena.
Yeah.
And between the 605 and 210 area.
Yes, yes. Well, so great to see you. And what high school football field is that?
And this is the Monrovia High School football field, and we have only one high school, so that is proud of our town. And we did a remodel of that field turf, and this is a wonderful project, so that's my proud. That's why I will put this as my background.
And they haven't lost one game this year, Tim.
That's right. Jack, nice to see you. Thank you for always be there to support us.
Thank you, Connie. Nice to see you again.
Thank you.
Good comments. And again, I know where we need to go. I know we can work with Karen Staff Walters, who's now running the county soups. And really, they just need a boot camp, I think, with Joe and Jack and Leslie and Juan, and have the point of contact when the fire hits, right? Because you can't wait till after. So maybe that'll be Kermit's retiring this year, maybe that, or this year or next year.
No, 2 years. 2 years. I've got 2 years left.
The disaster guy that gets us all straightened out for CSSA. But thank you so much, Connie. It's great for you to join us. And email or text me if you need anything. It's on my little note you got. Does anybody else have anything to say today? Anybody else have a question or comment? Well, great. That was a great meeting, and thanks for getting up a little early. I know you guys are busy. Mike Hefner, once you leave that, once this thing turns off, your whole day is going to go in 85 directions. So thanks for an hour of your time, and good seeing everybody. We'll be back next week, and we'll send you guys some updates what we're going to have for you. Sarah, I'll give you a call after this meeting.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks,
Tim.
Take care.
Bye. Thanks, Tim.